Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
Good morning, everybody. Nick here. It is Tuesday, May the 19th, 8:32 a.m. EST, and here we are looking at the euro, the EURUSD. We're going to also flip over to the NASDAQ. We're going to take a look at what we have time to take a look for. The first 10 minutes of this show is free for everybody here to see on YouTube. What's also free is in the description. There is a free algo. If you want to do agentic bot trading, everybody's talking about that right now. They want to have something set up to trade for them. It'll trade automatically. They don't have to sit at the computer all day long. They want to make millions and millions of dollars. Okay, look, that all sounds great, but the reality is you got to design the heart and soul of that agentic AI trading bot. And that is an algo. And there's a free video in the description that shows you how that is done. So go to the description, click that link, and you'll see how I build a simple algorithm, how I turn it into code, and how I should say how traders use these certain tools to connect their algo to their broker. As part of the process, creating one of those bots. All right, good. So I'm going to flip right to the NASDAQ. We're going to talk a little bit about how the NASDAQ is falling, how Trump tried to walk it back, and how that so far actually is looking unsuccessful. We're looking at the 3-hour chart. We had some news hit over the weekend, basically, where the U.S.-Iran talks were going sideways, and then oil creeped up because of sanctions that were being placed on oil. Russian sanctions related to the Iran talks. So Trump went ahead and tried to walk it back, said, hey, we got a deal coming, even did like a Truth Social post. And then the momentum was reversed, and yet the NASDAQ continues to fall. You can see it here. And this is actually last week's prediction, I believe. So this isn't a current prediction. Of course, price did go up nicely last week, but it appears that the run on NASDAQ is finally over. And here's the reality about the NASDAQ. It has been going up for so long, right? And it needs to pull back at some point. And it looks like the pullback that was sparked may actually be continuing right now, right? It doesn't look as if at the moment that the NASDAQ can continue up, and we're seeing a nice head and shoulders form. So if I were to take a look at local targets for the NASDAQ, and this actually is what I drew into the Monday show yesterday, by the way. So this is reflecting what we've already seen for those of you who review the weekly market update. And if you get the free algo, you'll be on the list for that weekly market update, by the way. So get the free algo and you'll get emailed that weekly market update, or simply subscribe to the channel. And we have some targets here for that, right? Now, I'd say the most recent structure for the NASDAQ is at 27,973. So right below 28, right? So basically 28,000. Well, if I were to apply head and shoulder reversal target logic to this, the way head and shoulders usually work, the actual target is a little higher than that. It's going to be right around 28,120 or so, right? So that first blue line is looking like that might be where price heads down to. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, of course, but the probabilities right now are increasing that it will. And this bottom dotted line of that head and shoulders formation, which these are very, very consistent payout, very consistent behaving formations, these head and shoulders. I'm not a big pattern trader, but the head and shoulders really is very consistent. And as soon as this line here gets crossed, then the opportunity for a short is in play. I usually like to look for a small pullback, such as this, maybe a move down, slight move back up. Usually that's going to happen, and then a move down. That's the way I prefer to do it, but you could simply be a little bit more risky, or you could just not do anything. You could do a lot of things. Whatever you do, it's got to be according to the way that you trade. I'm showing you how I trade, and it would probably look something like this if I were to take that short. Right, so this is a good opportunity, and it's looking better by the hour. Okay, so this is what we outlined yesterday in the weekly report, and it looks like it's going to happen. Right, so I did get knocked out of a small trade. I don't take big positions on Mondays for reasons just what you're seeing right now. Just the weekend, things happen, the markets are closed, and then things happen on Sunday, and then Trump says something and it reverses everything or not. And it just gets, Mondays are just funky, right? Markets kind of have to get shoehorned into where either the large money wants it to go or towards where the large money wants it to go. Because there are times when the market gets out of control and all the shoehorning in the world is going to just cost too much money, right? So let's take a look at, we'll skip down to the euro because I was talking about it. Okay, so we're seeing kind of a similar look here. There is a larger consolidation at play, right? This larger box. So I'm going to zoom out a bit. We're going to look, instead of the 3 hour, we're going to look at the daily. Okay. And it does look as if this is going to head down to the bottom of this consolidation. It's one of two ideas I had originally, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Again, it was on the Monday video. If you're not seeing that, then shame on you. But I think a decent trade might be looking for price to head down towards the bottom of this consolidation, right? That's what I think right now it looks like it's going to do. We're seeing some dollar strength again. So the momentum got whacked yesterday, and then it got put right back into place, and it was just very confusing to trade. And I don't take large trades on Mondays anyway, so it didn't really damage me. But I will say that this is what I think is going to happen, right? So if I were to zoom in and show you the way I would trade that, it's kind of tricky because you have this bit of structure here that seems to be built, right? And of course, I know Miko, who was talking earlier, took the trade at where I would originally have taken it had we not seen the drama over the weekend, which was up here at this area. So that would have been the ideal trade. Now we're starting to get deeper into the move. So what I would require for me to take it is a move up here, and then I might get that short, and it would look something like this. There is another option though, if it does not move up, and that option is a little bit more risky, but it still would be within my risk profile. If it does not head up and it simply breaks downward like this, then what I would do is look for this slight pullback, enter there, use the pullback as structure. That's a little more risky, but it's within my risk profile, and I can still take this trade. So it's going to be one of these, one or both. If it does head up and I get that nice deep entry, I can always add to it at least once on the way down. And the deeper it goes into the move, the smaller the positions are, because the more risky it is. So that's just how that all works. Okay, so let's see what we got time for. We got a few minutes left. I'll take a look at Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin broke down. And so this is something I was talking about in the show. Let's see here. Did I talk about that? Yeah. Bitcoin is really starting to slow down. Okay, so the volatility is lacking. This prediction was last week. It broke down over the weekend. We have this structure right here that Bitcoin seems to be heading towards. And if I look at, let me get rid of this. If I look at the stack real quick. So I'm testing something new. There's a lot of gunk on the screen, guys. Don't worry about it. I'm just going to look at this real briefly. I am bearish on this. I definitely am bearish on this. So I expect this to fall minimally to 75,000, and very, very likely Bitcoin is going to go ahead and retest. You've got, like, this is all very messy structure right here. You can pick some points out of it, but really the next strong structure is down to like 65,000. I mean, you got an area right there around 70. So I would be looking at minimally, like if I were to try to trade this, okay, this is on the 3 hour chart, so there's room for this. Right now, let me just take a look at the way it's behaving. This is an interesting look, guys. So it looks like it wants to pull sort of one of these, maybe a bull trap and then down. That's kind of the, I know that's not the best. That's kind of a very skeptical conclusion here. It would rely some algorithmic trading, because what you're doing is you're looking for Bitcoin to bounce basically off of this little bit of liquidity right here, right? That's what you're looking for. Normally, I would want it to bounce off of one of these structures higher up here, but it's already done so, more or less, right? And it did so right about here. It already bounced off that. So I think it might cascade down a bit, which would give me an opportunity, if I cared to take a short. And that's a 2-to-1 That's a reasonable trade, but I think this is most likely what is going to happen. And it might happen a bit sooner than what I just drew. Like it could happen, this takes it up to Wednesday. It could easily happen like today in a few hours, right? Right now, these consolidations don't seem to be lasting quite as long. It's already touched that top, by the way. If you look at this candle right there, it's already grabbed that liquidity. Not to say it won't do it again, but this thing could really just fall at any time. So if it doesn't go back up here, it's not really giving me a great opportunity to go short to get some good R's. So unless I get that double tap, then I'm probably not going to be interested. And at this point, the lack of volatility in Bitcoin has me relatively disinterested anyway, right? So, that's just without price moving around a lot and giving me a lot of very strong moves, then it's really easy to get stopped out in the chop. I don't like trading the chop, and a lot of people force trades during the chop and they get wrecked. So that if I were to take a trade in Bitcoin, that would be it. But that is what it is. All right. So we are now more than 10 minutes in, so I'm going to move over to the private live lab. So just a quick reminder, you have the free algo. Link is in the description. Okay. Go in there and get that algo. It's just an example algo. It's not plug and play. You have to optimize it for whatever you're trading because different assets behave differently. Using an algo on Bitcoin that works on Bitcoin may not work on the NASDAQ, may not work on the euro. So you actually have to learn how to optimize that. We teach you that over at Algo Factory. So get that free algo to see how we do things, and it'll go ahead and funnel you over to our website. You'll be able to sign up if you want to actually learn how to use this. And trust me when I tell you, if you think you're just going to go to AI and say, make me an algo that wins, like you probably won't be successful. I haven't seen anybody yet who's done it. I see a lot of people who talk big, like they're going to, go be traders, and then they think they could just tell Claude how to do it, and they haven't done it. There's a lot that goes on in trading that is outside of the algo. Okay, so we teach you that at algofactory.tech. So if you want to learn how to trade like a hedge fund pro, join us over at algofactory.tech. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, 8:30 a.m. EST sharp. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, where's the guy here? Here he is.
Join us or die.